Okay, this is my persuasive speech. Here we go. And it is on nuclear energy and why I believe we should switch to it. Electricity is the one thing that covers everything modern civilization does, and with it we shall rise and fall. A nuclear physicist and former Secretary of Energy, Ernest Moniz, has a famous quote regarding our choice of what we use to generate our electricity. When talking about major carbon emissions, Moniz said, "Electricity generation emits more carbon dioxide in the United States than does transportation or industry, and nuclear power is the largest source of carbon-free electricity in the country." And while this may seem controversial after the many accidents involving nuclear energy, we as a country would be foolish to disregard an energy source due to those reasons, and to forget the many reasons and the many natural disasters that have happened with our current power sources: oil, Gulf of Mexico. And there's so many more examples, but let's move on. We as a country, we would be very foolish. So this is why Congress and the country as a whole should take a second and look at nuclear energy and its ability to produce the majority of the United States electricity while being practical, safe, and sustainable. Nuclear energy currently produces 20% of the United States' energy, while coal produces 40%. And not only does nuclear energy produce zero carbon emissions, but it's significantly more practical due to the amount of energy it produces for its cost, but it also produces more energy per factory. This would mean the United States could shut down many coal power plants and natural gas power plants due to the efficiency of nuclear energy. Switching to nuclear energy would also save taxpayers significant amounts of money, due to being the cheapest energy to produce, according to the Institute for Energy Research. And looking at the graph, which showed energy prices from 1995 to 2011, nuclear energy has not only been the cheapest, but also the most reliable source of cheap power. Natural gas and petroleum, on the other hand, they fluctuate quite heavily, along with countries disputing over oil rights. Going to war over oil happens a lot. So when you hear the word sustainable, you probably think, well, hydroelectric or solar, but you would most likely never consider nuclear. Sustainable meaning the ability to support our electricity needs for thousands of years. Sustainable usually means forever. But the sun will eventually burn out, so nothing's really sustainable forever. So we're essentially talking about the length of the human species. So thousands and thousands of years. So the amount of electricity just stored in our crust is 40 trillion tons of uranium. And that's hard for even me to understand. So let's break it down to smaller numbers. So 1 kilogram of uranium-235 produces 24 million kilowatt hours of heat, while coal produces 2 to 3 million times less. So rather than write out 24/7 numbers explaining how much energy that is, simply put, it's 8.6 E235 kilowatt hours of energy. And that's enough energy to power the entire planet for 3.99 E to 10 years. So yes, this is technically not sustainable. It could prove to be more environmentally friendly than hydroelectric and wind. Because, well, hydroelectric, they damage fish and salmon. We have a dam, and it was taken out because it was hurting the amount of salmon returning to its river. And, turbines, they're really loud and they kill a whole bunch of birds. So they all have their problems. And most people would say that nuclear energy, its major flaw is its safety, due to radioactive waste, and that's a proper concern, and potential disasters that could happen while attempting to harness its massive energy potential. And the key example of it that they use is the Chernobyl accident of 1986. The problem with that, though, is that it's a cautionary tale, but the problem with using it as the cautionary tale is that its problems extended way beyond those commonly faced by most nuclear reactors. And these problems include a faulty reactor design and incorrectly trained personnel. In addition, the WNA WNA, World Nuclear Association, says that, begin quote, the accident is of little relevance to the rest of the nuclear energy, end quote. Which is not to say it wasn't catastrophic, but instead a learning experience in industry cooperation and safety culture. Another safety concern that many people have is the safe disposal of nuclear waste, which could become a thing of the past because of a revolutionary process, which has been in the work for years now, of using blast furnace slag and mixing it with radioactive waste. The key part is vitrification, which, let's see if you can see this. Vitrification is the process of turning any material into glass instantly. And yes, it's expensive, but it's a small price to pay for being safe and for being really easy to transport. And the problem with our current system is that concrete and metal, they break down faster than the radioactive waste. The radioactive waste will stay radioactive for longer than the concrete and metal will stay attached to it. So using glass is much better, and metal slag is a waste. You're using two ways to get rid of the problem. And it would also reduce the volume of the waste by up to 90%. So in finale, nuclear energy is not only safe, sustainable, and practical, it could also change the world as we know it. A world where we don't have pits running hundreds of feet down into the earth, which accompanies destroying an ecosystem for coal and for profit. A world where water isn't poisoned or on fire. Rivers are on fire. Where the fuel, our power plants, that our power plants need, and are only used to build bombs. The government has to choose between powering a large metropolitan area or killing millions of people, because uranium-235 and plutonium will be used to power power plants, nuclear power plants. Thank you.